Joined by Israel's Covid Commissioner, the man who advises the Israeli government, in fact, more or less sets Covid policy, Salman Zarka. Mr. Zarka, very good to see you. What I'd like to start by asking, because it's obviously very much on everybody's minds here, where our Covid cases, infections are rising very sharply at the moment. Now, yours have been falling very steeply over the past few weeks. What have you done right?
Good evening. I think the most important issue fighting COVID-19 is the vaccination. We saw that when we moved out of the third wave, and we are seeing now, it seems that by our people, about 3,000,008 people got already the third shot, the booster. And I really believe that this is the dominant part of what is happening at Israel.
So people watching you now in the UK, if they're having doubts about having the booster, you would say to them, have the booster, stop, quell those doubts.
We were the first people at Israel that we started with vaccination, so we were the first to see the phenomenon of waning when the two shots after about 5 and 6 months became irrelevant, and we saw people get sick although they have 2 doses. So today, when we provide them with the third shot, a very little percent of people have the disease. Mostly is a very, it's not a severe disease.
Sure.
This wave at Israel, we can call it the unvaxxed wave. Most of the people that hospitalized in the hospital with severe disease that are on ventilators or ECMO machine are the unvaccinated people. So it's very clear from our experience that the booster, the third dosage, is the best way to get out of this COVID-19.
And just very briefly, we're going to get to a break, but I want to come back to you in a moment or two on other questions. But I think you're already talking in Israel about 4th jabs.
We don't know.
You don't know yet whether you'll need...
No, we're still waiting. We're checking the serology for the people that already get the 3 shot. And we believe that we'll be the first to say if we have another winning with the 3rd dose. We hope that it will not be the situation.
Mr. Zarka, don't go away, and you at home don't go away, because there's so much more to learn about how we defeat this COVID menace. Come back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back. I'm delighted that Israel's Covid Commissioner Salman Zarka is still with me. So I just wanted to ask about non-pharmaceutical interventions. You've got mask-wearing, vaccine passports. How important have they been in limiting the spread?
I'm sorry, I do not hear you well. Would you please say it again?
So you have a policy in Israel of mandating people wearing masks in certain circumstances. You've got these vaccine passports, these green passports for going into certain social areas. How important a role have they played?
We're still in the 4th wave, and we are worried about when we will get out. So we will stay with the mask, with the vaccines, and with the green passport in order to avoid infection people that decided to be vaccinated. Vaccines is not 100% protection, and people vaccinated have to still guard from getting infected from others. So masks and other issues like a green pass could help these people save their lives.
And now you too have picked up this new variant. We've got quite a lot of it, the AY 4.2. How much of a concern is that?
We have several cases in Israel. The first one was diagnosed yesterday with 11 years old child that came from Latvia. We are doing this night already, this night, what's called the epidemiological investigation in order to know all the context of this child. It seems that as in Britain, it seems like the same as Delta. As I already know, it's about in England about 7 to 10% of the cases at England. So it seems it's not so continuous that can take the reins of Delta and be the prominent variant.
So the vaccine still works, you think?
We need to be ready for new variants of Delta or of the COVID-19, but I'm not sure that this one is the one that we have to be worried about.
Now, you kept much tighter control of your borders than the UK. How important has that been? And just given the great spread of COVID in the UK, do you see any prospect of British people being able to go more easily to Israel in the next few weeks and months?
Yeah, as I said, we are decreasing the new cases at Israel day by day. So looking at the possibility to live aside the virus, we cannot close our borders or our airport, and we have to be connected all over the world. So by the November 1st, we will be more easier in accepting people from all over the world, especially from countries vaccinated, such like Britain, to come to Israel. People that come to Israel, it seems like all over the world have to do a PCR test, and if they are vaccinated and the PCR is negative, they can be part of the country, travel all over our wonderful country, and get into places that it is needed for a green pass, like closed places, a restaurant, and so on.
Yeah.
We have to continue measure what is happening, because although we believe we will go out of the fourth wave, we have to be worried about the fifth, about other variants that can come from our airport. It's the same as Delta came from outside Israel. We have to continue measure and to be in alert because most of the world is still with the pandemic.
Certainly right. Mr. Zarka, very good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope to speak to you again.